As I'm sure people know that when there's movies, there is music. And when there's music and movies, there's music movies. Now, in the past, since, as I'm sure you're aware, there's obviously been music videos, but what these artists tend to do when they've become big, or in U2's terms, over egotistical, they think, you know what, let's put ourselves on the big screen. Now, as I'm sure people know, is that U2 have did that before back in 1989 with Rattle and Hum, which was a terrible film, which showed egotistical people who laughed at everything at all. The concerts were quite poor, and despite the fact that the Joshua Tree, which is a pretty good album, even on a YouTube fan, it's someone you've seen, would say, yeah, that's a pretty good album. But the film was terrible. I've never seen a film that bad before. And then I got me thinking about other music films. Sorry to look down. Obviously, Rolling Stones recently did Shine a Light, which I saw at the cinema in Picture House a couple of years ago, and I thought it was a pretty good film. I thought the concert itself was very good. It did show Mick Jagger make Mick Jagger look faster, which Mick Jagger, to my respect with Mick Jagger, has always been a hyperactive person. And to make him look even more hyperactive it's like making someone with ADHD have even more ADHD. But I thought it was a pretty good film. Shine the Light, as you know, is a great film, but it's also music. Directors have made stories about music. I'm sure people remember. There's been so many great story films. Obviously, 8 Mile, and many. But one of the films that I really got fascinated by. I'm not a big fan of this band myself, but I thought the film was pretty good. Was The Runaways. It starred Kristen Stewart and Dakota Fanning, which was about Runaways, which included June Jett and that lot. And I thought that was a fantastically film. People will say that the best performance of all was Kristen Stewart, or people say Dakota Fanning. I particularly like the manager, who played the bastard of all music people, and did pretty well, to be honest with you. It's hard to play a bastard in films. Well, it's easy personally for you too, but it's really hard. And for him, I've got to say that's pretty good. Then, of course, with no exception, other films have done it well. I forgot to mention that Blur, which is also in the Rolling Stone section, made a documentary film called No Distance Left to Run, and I thought that was a very good film. It showed you about a band which, at the start weren't particularly famed or favoured by many people. Then there was their Park Life era, and they went down into obscurity, being seen as a happy, smiley, happy-go-lucky band. Then they came, and then there was the heartbreaking of the breakup. And whenever bands break up in a movie, it just looks a bit shit and a bit like, yeah, sure, it broke up like that. But when you watch this, you believe it actually did happen like that. And I think it's a pretty good film. And then go back to the remake films and classic things. The Runaways was a great film, but also one of the other things that people do is to take the piss out of music artists by making mockumentaries. Of course, most people know that most people will say that the best mockumentary is This Is Spinal Tap, which is about a couple of hard metal idiots in a band, and they go touring around, and they are very, very dumb. I think the best line that everyone remembers is, "These go up to 11." and I love the film a lot. However, they ain't the best mockumentary. And you're thinking, what? How can you say that? It's about idiots. Well, I can tell you, my friends, there's an even better film I've seen. And nobody will recognise it. If you are a very smart movie person, like myself, you would recognise this film. I'm talking, of course, of The Ruttles. All You Need Is Cash. The documentary, which was inspired by Monty Python and the Beatles, is about, it tells the tale of the four groups, and they've got the Monty Python gags in it, and it's just a brilliant thing. I mean, lines, even when you read the lines, you still laugh about. I mean, one of the best lines I've got, if I can try and do this line for you, I really want to try to do this line. Back then, the Beatles had a fifth member who couldn't sing, who couldn't dance, who couldn't play guitar, but knew how to have a good time. And Hamburg, that's no exception. And then there's the man. I just think it's a brilliant film, a funny film. I think it's the best mockumentary of all time, and that is my own opinion, and I'm probably right all the time. So my question is to you for this. And it's time for you to put your thinking caps on. Of course, past thinking cap stuff I've told you to do, you haven't come into all drones. In fact, most of the time you don't even bother because you don't know what it is. Like, best this and best that. Most of the time I get is from people with quite perverted messages. And I'm quite scared some of the time with the messages you send me. I'm not going to mention any names, mention that. But, a bit scary. But the question is for you is this, my YouTube and Facebook whatever. What is the best film with music stars, or documentary, or a film that depicts music artists, or anything? I'll talk about like, tell me what's your favourite music film. I don't mean musicals. I don't mean musicals like, The Sound of Music or Mary Poppins or anything like that. No, that's different. What's the best music film? Stuff like The Runaways or No Distance Left to Run or Shine a Light or mockumentary type things or anything like that. Let me know your favourite one. I'll read it out next week on my blog, and even people like you and Wilf, Jake, and many more. You know what films you like. Don't be shy. I know it sounds quite perverted now, don't I? But you know what your favourite ones are. Just tell me your favourite ones, and I'll read them out in the blog.
Woo!